Hey, welcome back to the Infamous Podcast. This is Brian.
This is Darryl.
And Darryl.
Brian.
It's hammer time.
I have my parachute pants on.
Dude, I always wanted parachute pants, and I never had a pair of parachute pants, and it made me very sad. Like, super sad.
Is everybody parachuting now?
That was
Best,
that was legitimately
probably
the
the best
only
scene.
funny line in that movie.
Yeah.
Legitimately
Yeah,
the only
absolutely.
funny line in that movie. So, but yeah, did you see that Pedro Pascal got in trouble with like his stands for just since you brought up Wonder Woman 84 there, for like tweeting out that it was back on HBO Max, and he tagged Patty Jenkins and he tagged Gal Gadot. And then all these people are like, I'm so disappointed in you.
You know why? Because people are stupid.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all there is to it. It's just that people are dumb.
Yeah.
And they continue, and social media allows them to show how dumb they are.
Repeatedly.
Consistently.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Speaking of dumb, we're talking about the Powerpuff Girls today. Not the iconic.
Don't judge us, please.
Not the iconic cartoon from Cartoon Network back in the day, but the woke bullshit CBS version.
CW, and we'll talk.
Well, it's CBS.
Yeah,
Paramount owns it, but anyway,
yeah.
we are talking some Cobra Kai news that landed yesterday. So as of recording, so on the 27th of May.
Yeah.
The Tomorrow War trailer, which came out, which we've kind of been sitting on all week. And then there's some Kraven the Hunter news. And you'll laugh too. Then we're going to talk about Bad Batch episode 5, 6, whatever it is. Episode 5. And then our Supes and Lolo review.
Supes and Lolo, man.
Supes and Lolo. So, all right. First up is the Cobra Kai news. Darryl.
Man can't stand. He can't fight.
A man can't see. He can't fight.
Man can't breathe. He can't fight.
This is where the pain begins, Darryl. This is great. So, Netflix put out a 22-second teaser that did more for season 4 of Cobra Kai than the teaser trailer combo did for the Eternals. And the title is just Terry Silver returns, and it is it's a great little just short clip of oh crap, what's his name? I just had it and I lost it.
Thomas Ian Griffith.
Yeah, Thomas Ian Griffith. Thank you. No, I think that is. Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
And thank you, Thomas Ian Griffith. Just from behind, and it's just that iconic ponytail, and it's the voiceover from Karate Kid 3, and then it just says "Now the pain begins," and it fades to black, and as if I wasn't already super excited for CK4.
CK4. I can. This is, again, we talked about it during season 3 when we were talking about season 3, but this show, it's one of those shows that uncannily hits all cylinders and all manners of nostalgia, but brings it to the present in a way that respects the source material, the original Karate Kid, and enhances it.
Yep.
Which that is very hard to do.
So we're going to talk about fan service in a little bit.
Yeah.
Cobra Kai is definitely not innocent when it comes to the fan service.
Oh, 100%. It absolutely does that.
They do it so well. They add so much to it, and what they've done is the guys and girls on the writing staff have they add layers to these characters that we've known for 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just great. So yeah, that comes out later this year. I think it's in like November, if I remember correctly, and I'm too lazy to look it up. So that's what Google's for.
Yeah, I just know that The Witcher and the third season of You are all coming in the fall.
Yeah,
so
it's all like Q3, Q4 of 2021.
Yeah.
So
that would be nice. One of those series a month for the last 3 months. That would be perfect.
And like, let's space them out, right? Like 4 weeks apart,
right?
Because Netflix drops everything all at once. Because I like to watch Cobra Kai twice. I just do.
I did this,
like,
Yeah, I did this season. Yeah, I did actually.
I mean, like, I'll be honest. Like during the dark time when we thought maybe Cobra Kai season 2 was the end and we were never going to find out what happened to, the maybe one true Karate Kid. I rewatched the series a couple times, but I don't know. I kind of want Mike Barnes to come in and just tear everything apart.
And that's exactly what I was going to say. I was like, I wonder if they're going to bring Mike Barnes back. I know that the actor that plays him, and I don't recall his name, forgive me, but he was, I think he's on a soap, and he's been on a soap for a while.
Oh yeah, since 1998 or something.
Yeah, and so he was doing an interview several months ago, and he said, "Oh, I would love to come back," or something along those lines.
He was on Cobra Kai Theory. So Sean Kanan.
Kanan, okay.
Yeah, he was on Cobra Kai Theories. Yeah. No. You made me lose my train of thought. He interviewed on Cobra Kai Theory, that YouTube channel. So the guy who does Star Wars Theory also does Cobra Kai Theory.
Yes,
he talked to him. And it was great. It was like an hour long. It was great. And he did say, like, yeah, I definitely want to, like, I would love to come back if they had something for me. So but yeah, so Cobra Kai, it's like, we just got 5 minutes of content out of a 22-second trailer.
Yeah.
So,
yes.
yes, please. Okay, so moving on to the Tomorrow War. You brought this to my attention. This had somehow like completely slid under my radar. And then the trailer came out. And you sent it to me on my phone, and I watched it on my phone, and then I put my phone down, and I immediately went and watched it on the TV. I have not looked up anything about this. All I know is Chris Pratt is in it. All I know is it's people from the future come back, and, it just had me thinking. At first, it was like, is this like a South Park, they stole our jobs type thing, where the people from the future were coming back and stealing the jobs from the people in the present? But this is a cool concept.
Yeah. There was a very Edge of Tomorrow type feel to it, and not necessarily the plot itself, but the whole time travel thing and some of the visuals as well. I don't know who's if there's any type of the same people or something similar doing the effects. One of the things I loved is they didn't show anything. They didn't show too much of the creatures themselves.
Just that last little thing at the very end of the trailer. And, like, who knows if that's, like, the creature or their pet or whatever. Yeah. I mean, it's directed by Chris McKay. He did the Lego Batman movie. He directed that. He directed Star Wars Robot Chicken 3. He's tapped to direct Nightwing. I really don't want them to make a Nightwing movie.
I was about to say, I think Nightwing would only disappoint you if they made a movie.
I mean, it's bad enough what they did to Mark Grayson. Like, what happens if they mess with the Proto Grayson and ruin him?
Yeah. I'm going to have to send you a video of a guy talking about the differences between the Amazon series that's called Invincible and the Invincible comic. I only watched a few minutes of that.
I mean, I can tell you right now, the Invincible comic is good and great even. And the Amazon series otherwise known as Invincible is garbage.
Yeah.
But no, the Tomorrow War.
Back
to the Tomorrow War. We get sidetracked. We get sidetracked easily.
Yeah. But
Um,
Pratt is he is my favorite Chris of the MCU trio. Hemsworth
um,
isn't too far behind.
I probably go Hemsworth because of the fact that he can do anything,
Yeah,
right? Like Chris Pratt, I don't always necessarily believe um in some of this stuff, but
I see where you're.
I like him. Like it's like the parts of Jurassic World where you're supposed to think he's this like analytical sciencey type person and a badass. I don't buy the analytical sciencey stuff. Like the same thing with Zero Dark 30. Like I don't buy him as this big strategy genius type person or strategic planner. He's Andy Dwyer.
You're thinking too
And
much of like he's Andy Dwyer.
right.
I was just
So but no, but here he looks like it's just like, okay, he was just like a badass soldier and here he is now, and let's do it.
Yeah, I am actually really looking forward to this. It's funny enough, it's coming out July 2nd, which obviously 2 days before the 4th of July. And there's also a kind of that impending doom type feel, Independence Day in there as well. So
Yeah.
This is those one of those type of sci-fi movies that's right up my alley.
Mm-hmm.
It has a guy I like. I mean, he had J.K. Simmons is in it, or
Yeah.
Simmons is in it as well. I don't know how much he's going to be in it, but he's in it. And then there, Yvonne Strahovski.
Straczynski, whatever. Just
I always butcher her last name,
so.
but yeah, she's in it. So
Yeah.
I'm really curious. And one of the things people said is, okay, well, if they can go, why don't they just drop off weapons to help us better prepare? And it's like I get the thing. That's one of those questions you can't really ask until you know how they're handling the whole time travel thing.
And who even knows if it's right,
Right?
Like
Yeah.
even like are they going back for good, or are they going back to be like some sort of a sacrifice type of thing?
Yeah.
So
yeah. It was one of the things I said when I was talking about the Eternals trailer. A lot of people online were mocking it because, oh, you all have been here all this time and you didn't help the Avengers. It's like, okay, even though the trailer didn't impress me of the Eternals, I had to say, slow down. The movie may explain where it probably will explain where they've been. So that's one of those things that people, get online with, and just chill out, let the movie happen. If you don't like it, you don't like it. But
yeah, I'm not excited about like the Eternals because
I'm not really either. No.
Because Kevin Feige came out and said, yeah, we've picked these characters that nobody knows about so we can modernize them. And it's like,
I heard that.
You can go jump in a lake, dude. I want to use stronger language, but I'm trying to curse less on the show. So, but yeah.
But it's funny you said that, because when I did the trailer review, I didn't know he said that. And I didn't know he said that until the next day. And I'm like, oh, I kind of want to just redo that, because I would have had some choice words for something as dastardly as that.
Dastardly.
Yeah, I know. Dastardly dog.
But
that, honestly, and that's why. Well,
anyway, let's go back to
Tomorrow War.
The Tomorrow War. It looks cool, like you said. Like it's got that. It's definitely got that live, die, repeat. Like it feels like a little like Oblivion in there. Like it's a little Independence Day. There's just a lot going on, and I like this is the type of role that I think Chris Pratt actually really works well in, because I do buy him as like the badass soldier, kind of like Gerard Butler works as the badass soldier. Like consequently enough, Gerard Butler also really, really worked as the badass like psycho weapons creator in Law-Abiding Citizen.
So,
yes. But yeah, so I don't know. I'm excited. July 2nd can't get here soon enough, and we'll definitely talk about it. And it's got a really cool cast. There's just a bunch of like, oh, that guy and that girl actors and actresses, and Betty Gilpin's in it. So I'm always excited to see Betty Gilpin show up and stuff.
It's like, yeah, it has the people that say, I may not know your name, but I liked you in this movie.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah, I kind of want to go back and watch The Hunt now too after watching that trailer to see
Yeah, it's been a while.
prime
Yeah.
Betty Gilpin. So it's been over a year since that movie came out. I've only watched it once since we reviewed it. So
yeah, me too. Yeah, that might be. I'm gonna have to get back to that one.
Yeah. But no, yeah. So the Tomorrow War. All right. So let's get to the news bite that we're least interested in talking about.
But I think
it's the one we need to talk about the most.
Yeah, I was going to say it also points to a bigger problem with the network that is producing this.
Yeah, so the CW it's bad. Like, as good as see this is what has me scared for Superman and Lois, and I'll use the proper title for it to show the reverence and respect this series deserves. So alleged script leak from CW, the Powerpuff Girls depicted a girl. Words are hard. Let's start over. Alleged script leak from the CW's The Powerpuff Girl depicts them as sex-obsessed adults. So this script leak came out last week. That's hard to say. I really had to think about that. The script leak came out last week. There we go. And everyone's like, this cannot be real. This is fake. This is dumb. This isn't even a thing. And then the CW went and copyright struck everything,
which pretty much tells you.
Yeah, that's that.
Yeah, that's the script.
Yeah, and yeah, so I don't even know what to say about this. Basically what they did was they took the original cartoon and they put it through the lens of everything you could do wrong with this show. And then they even went back and said that the cartoon whitewashed them and made them look stupid and like kids. Essentially shitting all over the original source material.
Which
that was in the script, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Mojo Jojo wasn't a monkey, but in fact Professor Utonium's former lab partner, who Blossom killed before the pilot, in action which plays heavily on her decision to leave the hero life behind, which is Chloe. I am just forgetting everybody's name left and right this week. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
Quake. We'll just call her Quake. But yeah, and it's just right there. Okay, like that. Here's the thing: they could do that where it's maybe she killed him kind of on accident, right? And that sort of thing. Like I don't have a problem with that, but yeah, it's just Diablo Cody went way too far with Chloe Bennett. I don't know why it took me so long to remember that. She went way too far with kind of the darkening of these characters. And Powerpuff Girls, Haley liked them. I always called them the Powderpuff Girls. I did not catch on that they were the Powerpuff Girls until 4 years ago. But she's kind of self-inserting here, where these they're these strong female characters, and they're sex obsessed, and one of them is gay and is interested in the other one and likes watching her with her boyfriend and is trying, it's this is what this is Powerpuff Girls After Dark. This isn't I can't believe the CW let it get this far.
You know what? I wouldn't have minded a skit like this on, say, a South Park or Robot Chicken. That would have been perfect.
This is a robot.
That's
That's exactly right. This is a Robot Chicken, like 4-minute sketch.
Yeah. Not an actual TV series. Oh, let's not forget Professor Utonium depicted as a stereotypically abusive celebrity dad.
Yeah. So again, I can't believe Donald Faison would do that. Like, it's not like that dude's hard up for money.
Right. So this is the thing where I was saying it was a bigger problem with the CW. Back in the day, I've been watching the CW when it was WB, when that's what it was when Supernatural first came on back in 2005.
Yeah.
And you just think about 7-8 years ago when the Arrowverse started with Arrow, and then a couple years after that with the Flash. Say what you will, but the first couple seasons of both of those shows were pretty strong.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And this is what's happening with CW shows now, for the most part. It's either woke nonsense, bad writing, or a horrific combination of the two.
Yeah.
For example, again, I don't watch The Flash anymore. I haven't watched Legends of Tomorrow. The only show on here I watch is Superman and Lois.
Yep.
Give it its proper reference. And I was watching All American, which is a pretty decent show, and that's where Wole Parks comes from. He was on that show last year. In the last few weeks, like the second half or the first half of this season, after the first 3 episodes, they have gotten really way too comfortable with the woke nonsense that I don't even want to watch it anymore.
Yeah.
Because it, how they, in the, Law and Order or SVU, they say rip from the headlines.
Right.
They are taking stuff from, the headlines of what's going on and just inserting it with the lack of creativity that I've seen in All American in the last few episodes is really disappointing, because I thought it was a pretty good show that did a good job initially of, having this black football player go to Beverly Hills, and it did not beat you over the head with race and all that stuff in the first couple seasons. And now season 3 is doing that. And with the Flash was more about just bad writing. I don't know. I can't say really about Black Lightning because I stopped watching after season 1. I think.
Well, I mean, like Black Lightning was awful. It was just like, and it wasn't. Here's the thing, and it wasn't awful because it was like black characters or anything like that. It was the worst written CW show yet. And I think Batwoman has like strongly just like placed itself at the top of that pyramid. But yeah, it was just kind of dumb, and like the way his girls develop their powers so late, and then they, I'm not going to call them Mary Sue's because they weren't really very good with their powers at the beginning, and they got,
no, they weren't.
They got better over time. So fair enough. But the fact that like they did not recognize each other when all they're doing is covering just the eye section of their faces. There's not a daughter who won't recognize their dad. There's not a dad who won't recognize his daughter from the second they step in the same room together.
Yeah. And again,
unless
they were,
I was going to say, unless it's Thanos and Scarlet Witch in Old Boy.
Well, there was a reason behind that.
I know, but yeah. So Josh Brolin in that, like, oh, jeez. And I know I'm talking about the remake, but still, just Josh Brolin in that scene when he finds out was crazy, and stupid. But yeah, you know where I'm getting at.
Yeah. So also so after this, well, actually, I think it was right before. I can't remember if it was before or after, around the same time where they came out and said, "Yeah, we're kind of going to reshoot this pilot," which that's to say that's not a good thing is underselling the fact that they're a terrible thing to have to.
So lots of pilots get reshot, though. Like lots of pilots get reshot. Like Buffy got reshot. There's a pilot of Avatar: The Last Airbender that is completely different than the boy in the ice cube. And I mean, there's just lots of examples of this where
Yeah.
a show
Well,
goes to
what
pilot, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
They redo it. That's why they do a pilot. But the fact
Yeah.
that the CW was so quick to say we want this to go to series without
That's what I mean.
seeing that pilot, that's the problem.
Yeah, and that's what I was gonna say. Like that's exactly because there's plenty of shows that get a pilot and you don't hear anything like Wonder Woman, or there's plenty of examples.
Oh
but
God,
that's
that was
exactly
a horrible pilot with Adrian Pilecki.
I never saw that. Yeah.
Right? Yeah, Pilecki. Padalecki.
Yeah, it's Pilecki.
Yeah, Adrian Pilecki. That's 45 minutes of my life I'll never ever get back. Never.
So
like
to your point, that's exactly where I was getting at with the pilot being reshot, is that they were so backing this so hard. Like all the other ones, a lot of the other ones you could say are, were experimental type things, like the whole Buffy thing.
Yeah.
That's like a first draft. I get that. But, they went so all in on this. And then, like you said, without actually seeing the pilot and then being able to see it and it's trash, which did they read the scripts before they?
I don't think they did. I think they are. I don't think that they worried about that. But yeah, I mean, like Family Guy had a pilot, the different pilot. Freaking Big Bang Theory had a different pilot with like almost an entirely different cast. Game of Thrones had an unaired pilot. Gilmore Girls, Seinfeld had a pilot that nobody ever saw with the Seinfeld Chronicles. It just happens, and but part of that was like the first season of Seinfeld was 6 episodes. People forget that. So reshooting the pilot and then doing 5 more episodes wasn't a big deal.
Yeah, but and again, like all of those things were, all of those things were actually for the most part original things as well.
True.
And
not Game of Thrones.
And this is, totes op, but I'm trying to get my Powerpuff Girls.
Actually, Buffy wasn't
lingo.
Necessarily original either because of the Christy Swanson.
Well, I mean, it's original. Yeah, it's original. It's original in the sense of with Joss Whedon.
Yeah.
But it's the thing is, going back to the CW. This is a CW problem because you look at their shows, and again, I know every show is not catered towards us. Right. I understand that,
and I don't want it to be.
And that's fine. Yeah, it's not that it's not. It's the fact that even if a show is not catered to me, if it's a live action show, I could say, okay, this was decent writing. I don't have to. It doesn't mean I like it, but I can look and say this is decent writing.
Right.
The writing on these CW shows, Superman and Lois, excluded, has just continued to get worse. And worse. And again, like there wasn't a lot that I can think of with Arrow that was what I would call woke nonsense. Arrow was just bad writing.
No, the bad thing about Arrow was their incessant need to use the Ollie Felicity relationship as a crutch.
Yes.
Olicity.
Yes. Yeah. Bad writing. Yes, absolutely. Bad writing. The Flash, the villains they use, and the way they've kind of put the seasons together, bad writing. Like over the last several years. Again, I know this show I used to watch. Well, I didn't used to watch it, but I watched it on Netflix. Riverdale, the first season and a half, and I knew this was going to be a little bit woke, because it's dealing with high schoolers. But then I remember when I just like totally went out when they were the parents of this girl were going to send her to a conversion camp, and I was like, oh, I'm done. And again, fine, it's not written for me. Terrible writing. And again,
well, I mean, you look at the difference between these things, right? Like you have a movie person in Diablo Cody coming into television, and you if she wanted to try and make this as like a big budget like action movie to go out and do it this way, great, that's up to you. But when you're trying to make a TV series for people to come back and want to watch over and over and over and over again, then maybe you just don't go that way. I just want to point out Superman and Lois. The big difference between Superman and Lois and everything else on the CW is Todd Helbig. Now, I will say this. Todd Helbig was involved as an executive producer of The Flash for 63 episodes and the co-executive producer for 37 episodes between 2014 and 2019. So there's a lot of blame to fall on his shoulders. But he was the co-producer on Spartacus. He was the supervising producer for Black Sails season 2, I think. And now he is the showrunner for Superman and Lois. So he's worked under Stephen S. DeKnight twice. Plus, he was heavily involved with Mortal Kombat Legacy. So the dude knows how to tell a story.
Mm-hmm. That's very important.
And so these other people, like Greg Berlanti, is stretched so thin, right? I would be surprised that he even knows what is going on week to week on the shows that have his name at the end of them.
Oh, absolutely not.
And
like
this
considering
is the
everything he's
going, CW. But like, because he's doing all of this, like all the CW stuff. He's doing all the stuff for HBO Max. You know, he's got a bunch of other things that he does, and great. But at the same time, it's just it's not great. It's just really. It's really not good at all. But was it there was the guy who was the showrunner on The Flash, or one of the producers on The Flash, who was like kicked off the show. Because of like it's like some Me Too stuff. And so I'm not condoning any of that. Was it Andrew Kreisberg?
Let me see.
Anyway, but like when that person left, that's when The Flash went downhill.
Yeah, I can't find who it is, but yeah, that there was you could see when.
Yeah, it was Andrew Kreisberg. On November 10th, 2017, he was suspended from his role as showrunner of The Flash, Arrow, and Legends of Tomorrow. After 15 women informant accused him of sexual harassment. On November 29th of 2017, he was fired from all Warner Brothers television projects. So again, I'm not at all am I saying like he wasn't rightfully or whatever, but the dude knew how to tell a story, and that wasn't enough to have him keep his job. But the guy knew how to tell a story, and when he left, that's when The Flash, Arrow, Legends of Tomorrow, and Supergirl all went downhill.
Yeah, and I didn't know all that as far as some of that behind the scenes stuff.
So it's okay, man.
But
you're a normie. Yeah. We get it.
Yeah, it's obvious. It's obvious that.
Hold on. This is just an inside joke for Darryl and I for something else that's going to happen on this show later. Not this show, but on the podcast. Anyway.
Yeah.
It's all good.
It's pretty obvious that the CW is missing that.
Yep.
Again, with one show, at least that I know of, excluded from that, it's just a lot of.
Yeah.
It's a lot of junk.
Yeah.
And again, let us know if there's a show on the CW because I know there's a lot of shows that are on there that I haven't given the time of day.
Yeah, and I mean this fall it becomes a 7-day-a-week network, which it's never been. So
yeah,
it was weird enough when they went to 6 days a week when they added Sunday for Supergirl, a few years ago. But now it's going to be So I mean they have. Now 14 hours of television to fill because they only have between 8 and 10. So
interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, let's move on.
Yeah.
I've had enough of the.
That's all I'm going to say about that.
Yeah. Anyway. Okay, so moving on to Kraven the Hunter news. So Deadline title of the article here: Kraven the Hunter, Aaron Taylor Johnson to play Spider-Man, villain and standalone pick. Later on in the article, they call Kraven an anti-hero. Kraven is not an anti-hero. Let's just be right there. It says here, one of Sony Pictures' universe of Marvel characters, Kraven is one of the most iconic and notorious anti-heroes. He has had encounters with Venom and Black Panther, among many others, and is one of Spider-Man's best known and most formidable enemies. The film is set to bow on January 13th, 2023. Avi Arad, Matt Tolmich are producing, with the screenplay written by Art Markham and Matt Holloway and Richard Wing. I don't know who they are. Apparently, this all came about because Aaron Taylor Johnson is making a movie called Bullet Train, where he's one of the main assassins, co-starring with Brad Pitt. And they liked the dailies that they saw so much that they said, you know what? Let's stick it to the MCU. Let's make it so there's no hope they'll ever have a Quicksilver again. And let's make this dude Kraven so he can stumble through another Eastern Bloc accent badly. Like, I do a really bad Russian accent. A really bad one. Like, borderline offensively bad, right? Which is why I don't really pull it out very often. It's marginally worse than what Aaron Taylor Johnson does. And I like Aaron Taylor Johnson. If you haven't seen Savages, he's great in that movie.
Yeah. I liked him in Tenet.
Yeah, he's great in Tenet, right? He's a badass, and he got to use his actual accent. Which was not a horrible Russian accent or Eastern Bloc accent. And then like, I love him as Kick-Ass. He's Dave Lewinsky through and through. So when I read this, here's the biggest problem with this. They're not gonna have Spider-Man. This is just gonna be Kraven. If you wanted to have just a Kraven movie, do it in the MCU and have him hunt the totem characters, right? Like, he could hunt Ant-Man. He could hunt John David Washington's Black Panther. He could hunt, one of the other, he could hunt Falcon or Captain Falcon or Captain America, whatever. They're all, anyone who's based on an animal, like, they could work their way up to Spider-Man and Kraven's Last Hunt. But like, Venom worked, and I use the term worked loosely, right? Without Spider-Man, because it's an alien symbiote that the Roxxon Corporation found before it was able to merge with Peter Parker, because there was no Secret Wars. Right. There was no taking 12 heroes and 12 villains off and putting them on the board to battle somewhere in time and space. So great. I get it. I wasn't on board for it. It's an okay movie at best. I'm interested actually to see the sequel just because I like Woody Harrelson so much. But I don't see ATJ as Kraven, and I don't see Kraven as a character that could actually hold a movie like that.
Okay, so I like, again, I'm in the same boat as you are. I like Aaron Taylor Johnson as an actor. I don't like him for this role. And again, when I'm saying that, it's based on what we've seen of him. Now, he could really surprise us. I mean, I've been surprised by actors in certain roles where I was like, I don't think that guy or gal is going to be great, and then they are. but a bigger point is what you said as far as Kraven without Spider-Man, Kraven on his own. It's almost as if this is one of those things where their studios feel as if, hey, the Joker worked on its own, so let's try something. And again, I know that this has been floating around for a while. The idea of them.
Did Joker work?
Oh,
I mean, I get it.
Oh, it absolutely did work from people. Yeah, I mean, I know you don't like it, and I only liked it. I only thought it was okay.
Here's the other thing why Venom worked is because Venom transcends the comic book. There are people who are Venom fans who have never once read a Venom comic book. They've never watched They've never once watched a Spider-Man cartoon. They like the look of Venom. They have him tattooed on their bodies.
He's been in games.
Yeah, he's been in a ton of video games. They like if they ride motorcycles, they have Venom on their helmet. Like, it's the Venom face. So with Kraven, for example, Kraven has been part of the Sinister Six, but like Kraven is most known for hunting Spider-Man, quote unquote killing Spider-Man, and and then himself. Spoilers. But I don't like the idea of this as a standalone movie. Like, this could be, say, Spider-Man 4, where they tie in the MCU and the Sony Spider-Verse together with Tom Holland showing up in maybe, one of those movies.
Yeah, I just don't know if this works in the sense of how they're delivering it. And again, that doesn't, it could be actually a good film, but as far as getting the reach, because a lot of people, like you said, I like how you liken how Venom has kind of like wormed his way or their way into, because we are Venom, their way into pop culture. Like, look at the pops that are coming out. Like, you have pops that are like a Venom line of pops, like Venom Captain America. Yeah. I have a Venom Captain America action figure.
Yeah, they have Venomized toys. They had a huge Venomized, toy run, and Haley has the Venomized Spider-Gwen because she gets like the Gwenpool and Spider-Gwen and Venom Gwen, and all that stuff. That's one of the characters.
Yeah, you don't have that for Kraven.
Yep.
So, in the sense of working to a broader audience, that's not a character I would say. Like, even Joker, for example. Let's go back to Joker. Everybody knows Joker from whether it be the original Joker in the Batman, TV series, whether it be Jack Nicholson.
I mean, Joker's almost a 90-year-old character.
Yeah. So people know Joker. And, you think Joaquin Phoenix is going to play Joker. Joaquin Phoenix, great actor. So just the fact that he's playing that brought some other eyes. Mm-hmm. Like, again, this, and then, you had Todd Phillips directing, and, some people like his work. Then you look at this. You have Aaron Taylor Johnson. He's not a box office draw. No. You have a character that not many people know about other than, people that are in the comics. You have a director, J.C. Chandler, who's done Margin Call, A Most Violent Year, and Triple Frontier of his 7 directing credits. Those are 3 of them. Like, nothing.
Triple Frontier, while we liked it, was
messy.
It was messy is a polite way of saying it. It was a hot mess.
It needed somebody. Well, it just needed a hand to, like, there were a lot of coloring outside the lines. It needed somebody to kind of smooth those lines out, and that goes back to the point of this this director taking on a character who no one knows, on an actor who is not a draw. I don't think this is the right way to bring Kraven into the cinematic universe, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. Now, I don't like. Here's the other thing too: is he's a big game hunter. How is that going to go over?
No, yeah.
I mean, think about audiences now, right? He's a big game hunter. They're calling him an anti-hero. No,
he's going to be a villain, from people.
But who is he going to be a villain? Who who's going to go up against him, right? That's what we need
No,
to find
yeah.
out. Like, we don't know
Yeah.
any of that yet. So,
Yeah, and again, like we said, this could actually, if they do it right, it could be a fine movie.
yeah.
But I'm just saying, from the standpoint of reaching a broader audience, the way they're doing it and all who's involved, I don't think it's going to work like to the point they want it to work.
All right, cool. We can move on from Kraven. All right, so let's get on to the Bad Batch. Rampage, directed by Steward Lee, written by Tamara Becher-Wilkinson, released today, May 28th. Hoping to discover who hired Shand to retrieve Omega, the Bad Batch goes to Ord Mantell, where Echo knows of a Jedi informant named Sid. She offers to find out about Shand in exchange for their help. Slavers have kidnapped a child named Muchi, and Sid will receive a reward from Jabba the Hutt if the Bad Batch will. Wow, that's a huge spoiler in the just in the summary. From Jabba the Hutt if they help her rescue the child. The Bad Batch finds and fights off the slavers, rescuing Muchi, who is actually a young rancor. Taking her to Sid, Muchi is given to Jabba's right-hand man, Bib Fortuna, in exchange for the reward. Sid gives some of the reward, 30% of the reward, to Hunter, and is unable to learn who hired Shand. She offers to give the Bad Batch more mercenary work in the future. All right. The show, there's nothing wrong with the Bad Batch. It's not bad. It's not a bad show. It's not a good show. It's boring.
Yeah. So I told you.
Like, you read that, right? Just reading that summary is boring. Like, the Clone Wars covered, like, you know, the pilot of the Clone Wars was saving Zero the Hutt's kid.
Yeah.
Like, this is nothing new. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. So and I told you this, my ritual since the Mandalorian started, my Friday ritual was waking up, first thing in the morning, making my coffee around 7:00, sometimes earlier if I can't sleep, and watching these, Disney Plus shows. I was like, Mandalorian, I was always up. WandaVision, I was always up. Falcon and the Winter Soldier, after the first couple episodes, I would sometimes forget, honestly, that it was, on. And this is the first one where I actually didn't really care to watch, in the sense of, based on the last couple weeks. And like you said, the Bad Batch is not inherently a bad show. It's just a show. I see them going from planet to planet, and it does have some parallels to the Mandalorian season 1, which, again, the Mandalorian season 1 was not super strong, but there was just something magical about it. This has potential, but so far it's gotten to the point where it's one of those where I just shrug my shoulders and say, yeah, it's on. I guess I'll watch it.
Yeah.
And so, and I've told you this. One of the things I told you is, when I was watching it, these guys are jobbers, to coin a wrestling term.
They all have glass jaws. They're, like, honestly, the only one of them who is even capable as a warrior is Crosshair, and we haven't seen Crosshair since episode 2. I think Crosshair might be my favorite character in the show, to be honest. But that's untrue. But yeah, it's just one of those things where nothing is happening in this show. Like honestly, this show should have just been dropped all at once, because this isn't written as a sequential storytelling week to week. You have to watch to see what's happening. This was written to be streamed. And
Yes.
and like, I get why Disney does what they do, because they don't have enough content to be dropping a whole series every week, multiple series every week, like Netflix does. Netflix is far and away ahead of everybody else. This show should have been dropped as just a one shot. You know, I don't even know how many episodes it's supposed to be.
I was going to ask you
but
if you knew how many episodes there were going to be.
I did not, but we can try and find out. But that being said, like, it absolutely should have been just 16. Yeah, they should have just either dropped the first 8.
The first 8, I would do that,
and then drop the next 8 2 weeks later. You know, something like that. The whole let's go somewhere, let's crash our ship, let's go somewhere, let's be fish out of water, let's go somewhere, let's get captured, let's get beat down, let's do this. It should not be this repetitive. And considering the goodwill that these characters had coming off of season 7 of the Clone Wars, none of that has carried over into their own series.
No. And what I said, other than the first episode where you saw them working as a team, which granted, like you said, Crosshair was a part of that. But Crosshair had helped with that. These guys can't win a fight.
No, Crosshair is the one who wins. You know, like the fact that Crosshair let them get away is a shock, right? It's like, well, it's because he just gone through like maybe the electroshock thing. Maybe that's why his aim was a little off there. But you know, when the Empire sent him out to take care of Saw Gerrera, Saw was gone, but he still finished the mission.
Right.
You know, because a good soldier follows orders, which is still kind of one of the most terrifying like themes of Crosshair.
Yes, absolutely.
But the other issue is, you're absolutely right. These guys are jobbers. They're not. You want to root for them, you really do. But then in the end, you know they're gonna lose. And the other thing is like I don't want to see the bad news clones, right? The other thing is the fan service cameos, like it's a lot, you know, like Bib Fortuna, great, okay. The slavers, they're a deep cut from season 5 of or season 4 of Clone Wars.
Okay.
When Anakin and Obi-Wan go to bust up a slave ring, and you know Anakin gets all like, slavery is bad because I was a slave, you know, when slavery is bad. But slavery is bad because I was a slave, and like, you know, I'm gonna have a really hard time keeping my emotions in check and still being like considered on the light side of the Force here. Obi-Wan had to live a day in Anakin's shoes as a slave and had all sorts of empathy for him coming out of it. But none of that carried over into this. It was like, here is the one-dimensional villain. They're slavers. Okay. They're going after this character, Muchi. We think it's a kid. The twist is it was really a rancor. The most interesting thing about the show is Omega, because we don't know anything about her.
Yes.
And they're 100%. Not doing anything to build on that.
Yeah, and one of the other things they keep doing is showing you that something is going on inside Wrecker's head. But I don't know how they're going to use that. And again, one of the things I wrote down here is where I don't know where they're going.
Yeah.
And that's not in a positive way.
Right.
You know, when we watched WandaVision, I had that same question at times, but it was in a positive way. It was like, I don't know where they're going with this, but I'm really excited.
Yeah, I don't know where they're going, but I'm along for the ride.
Yeah. This one is like, I don't know where they're going with this.
Yeah.
And I'm getting to the point I really don't care.
Yeah. Like I said,
that's not good.
This does not have the structural issues season 1 of Rebels had. This does not have the structural issues probably the first 2-ish seasons of the Clone Wars had, right? But at the same time, it's just not living up to what they hyped it to be. Like, this is supposed to be a group of very capable soldiers who are all enhanced, mind you, who are supposed to be like figuring out how to survive in this new world where the Empire has started. Like, you know, this is new, and they're not doing that. They're they seem like they're just very sheltered and like babes in the woods. They're Bambi learning to walk and falling on the ice. To just use another Disney property. And this is part of the problem with Disney Star Wars. Plain and simple. I mean, even you look at season 7 of the Clone Wars, the stuff with the Bad Batch was good. The stuff with the SJW sisters was really bad. And then the last 4 episodes was some of the greatest Star Wars that's ever been made. And I think that's because Dave Filoni told Disney just to back off. He's got it. But I just, I don't know. I want to be able to say, hey, this is something you should watch. This is something worthy of your time. This is something worthy of, the price tag, the ever increasing price tag for this streaming service that doesn't actually have anything that you probably don't already own.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's say out of aggro tween rancors, out of 5, what do you give episode 5 Rampage?
I give it a 3. It just it did nothing. It did nothing for me.
Yeah.
Like you said, Omega is my favorite part of the show. She's the only one that always gets me to smile in this show, because she does every episode. She does something that makes me smile.
I liked when she was taken and she made her trooper doll into a Clone Force 99 doll when she painted it. That was the best part of the whole episode. Yeah.
And when she was like, come in, I found Sid.
Yeah.
It's just, I like her, and I like when she's on screen, but everything else in this episode was just, again, it wasn't like it was terrible, but it just didn't do anything. It didn't go anywhere. And it's done that it's done that far too much for only 5 episodes.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I give it a 2 out of 5. This was one of the worst episodes yet. So.
Mm-hmm. So.
All right, let's move on to the thing we like.
To something
most.
that's really good. Yes.
We're gonna end the episode on a positive note, and it's Superman and Lois, episode 7, Man of Steel, directed by David Ramsey, written by Jai Jameson, who I was about to look up because I forgot to do it earlier. This had a ton of just just world building and moving the story along and just getting stuff done. Wow, he hasn't written much. So, I mean, he's a staff writer, and this was his first written by for Superman and Lois.
He did a damn good job.
Yeah, he wrote some shorts. He's directed a bunch of short stuff. He's edited all that same short stuff that he wrote and directed. Yeah, dude, good on you, Jai Jameson. Like, thank you. This like.
And how about?
Oh yeah, sorry, go ahead.
And how about Diggle coming in with the directing credit?
Well, so he's directing 5 Arrowverse shows this season. So I see big things for him. The action scenes were really good. I thought that he did a good job with the boys.
Yes.
There was a scene in particular, obviously spoilers, that I thought had both of them had some fantastic direction to play it the way they did it. Because I like the way it was written, it could have come across as very cheesy, but it didn't. It came across as very powerful, and I'll get to that. But so. We pick up this episode where the last episode left off, Broken Trust, and that's not what it was called, was it?
Yes.
Yeah, Broken Trust. Sorry. And Clark is flying Jordan to the fortress, and because he's overwhelmed with his powers and things are going crazy, and you see the ship. Do its thing, the fortress do its thing, and it's like, oh yeah, his powers are kicking in. His auditory powers, so he's hearing everything. I love the way they're showing like what little training Jordan is getting has been like really good scenes between Tyler and Alex, you know.
Yeah, and it, it's almost as if we talk about this all the time, but the cast works so well together. As you you buy this as a family, because as families you have issues, especially with teenagers. You have issues, just regular life issues, and watching Tyler play not just Superman, but a dad to these two twins, like very different kids, having to deal with situations that he never really, I mean, yeah, he had to deal with getting his powers, but he didn't have to deal with it in the way that these kids are dealing with it. It's
Mm-hmm.
so well done. And also the back and forth between the brothers, because everything that Jonathan has suffered because of them having to move to Smallville,
Oh yeah.
because Jordan powers develop. And I'd like that, Jordan shows, he has a multiple layers, because it could have been easy to write this character as, the goody two shoes, in the sense of him being always understanding.
Right.
Or one of the things you joked, I think last week, was, wanting to see him break bad.
I do, and I still do, especially after this week.
Yeah, but he shows that he's still, human, and a person, and that, first of all, he absolutely has reasons to be pissed at his brother. Look at his hand.
Well, okay,
He has
so
absolute reason.
this is the scene I wanted to talk about. So, like, let's just talk about it now. They're in the
Yeah.
house. Jordan starts to break down because he is spying, inadvertently, mind you, spying on John and Sarah, and he's hearing, and he gets jealous. So when John gets home, he's like, "Why are you trying to steal my girl?" And John goes off on him and starts yelling at him, and like totally raises those like stress levels in Jordan, like to where they don't need to be. And like we don't get to hear everything John's saying, but you hear enough. He tells Jordan he's a bad person. He tells Jordan, like, I have always been here for you when you've been the guy who was getting picked on for being weird, and now the guy for this and the guy for that. And look at my hand. You are a bad person. And then when he goes to walk away, he hits the door, like, or the little thing on the steps. So it makes that loud noise. It's just a like one last F you. And like, I thought that was a super powerful scene, right? And it shows that like John has a limit.
Yeah.
And so like, to your point, like, I think it showed us right there, like John is like at that limit. But then if you jump to later in the episode, when Jordan's powers go haywire again, and John again comes to the rescue. John is the Superman out of the two of them, right? And then John is, when it's, Clark is in trouble, and we'll get to that. I'm not going to talk about that. When they're on their way out there to help, or when they're trying to find Clark, John is helping him focus his powers, by asking questions and, like, keeping Jordan on task. And I thought it was such the great, like, brotherly love-hate relationship that all brothers have.
Yeah. And that, well, like when you said that, like hitting the door, that FU, I'm glad that they did, like, that whole scene, first of all, was great. But that last moment, because it shows that, look, like you said, I've been silent for a long time for what I've had to sacrifice. And now you're spying on me.
Right.
And I love how he was like, don't you ever do that again.
Well, because remember how mad they got when Clark was doing it?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
It's that, broken trust that, John can't trust Jordan.
No, he because again, he's the one that's always there cleaning up the messes, or in the sense of preventing a mess from happening. That's why his hand is broken. But how many times has he been there when Jordan's powers were on the fritz?
Every time.
And he's there to calm him down. Every single time. And that's why I love him as a character, and I love the job that Jordan is doing, the actor is doing in his role as Jonathan.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. Jordan actually. Jordan Elias is the kid that plays John Kent.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I thought the boys were the highlight of the episode, to be honest, as far as that goes. But when we'll get to the big reveal, that was just amazing. I liked
That was your chef's kiss.
no, it's like Salt Bay. Like, I think it's more Salt Bay because it added a whole bunch of flavor to this show that it was like, what? I'm down with you. My analogy game is strong this week.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's that day off. It had me. It's got me like relaxed.
You recharged.
I'm getting there. But I really liked Lana's story this week. With the whole quote unquote leadership program and her friend like wanting to be in it and Lana trying to keep Kyle out of it. I thought that was really cool. We haven't seen a lot about that, and I don't know. I was watching. I was like, and this is why I like this, because I was watching Thinking Critical early this week, and they were talking about like what's wrong with modern comic book storytelling, right? And TV storytelling as well. And it's because like everything is written to be binged, everything is written to be a trade or an omnibus, and they've kind of lost the whole idea of letting the B story carry out through the season, whereas like each episode can have an A story. And I thought this episode had like 2 A stories. You had the boys and you had the Captain Luther. And then the B story this whole season has been the ex-Kryptonite Morgan Edge thing. And we got the ex-Kryptonite to merge with the A story, with the Captain Luther A story. Which, in turn had a big payoff. But then we added to the B story of like Edge is trying to find more people like Lar to turn into these supers. And that's part of what his investment in Smallville is about. And I think he believes that Kyle is one of these people that can, take on the burden of the Kryptonian powers.
Yeah. The art of incrementally adding to your secondary story arc is something that you don't see. And until you actually broke it down from what Thinking Critical was talking about, I didn't it clicked in me that so many movies or so many TV shows that I've watched on this, we were talking about the CW.
Mm-hmm.
CW does a terrible job of this. Terrible job for the most part.
Yeah, absolutely.
But
like,
that is such a good point.
Lost, right? I thought Lost did this better than almost any show except for in season 3. The Blacklist is the show that they use as an example, and it's like, I only watched the first season of that show, or actually I watched the first 2 seasons of that show, and I could see that. I thought something like Spartacus actually did a really good job with this. Like the A story was Spartacus and the Spartacus coming to power, Spartacus becoming the general, Spartacus freeing the slaves. But the B storyline was the politics of the Roman Empire. And and it was like, I don't know. I feel like DeKnight does a really good job with that stuff.
Yeah, I was gonna say Black Sails does a great job with that as well.
I mean, Joss did a good job with that with Buffy. David Greenwald mastered it with Angel, with that whole universe. But yeah, you look at like The Wire did a great job with that. I mean, The Wire was pretty much a bunch of B stories that like the B stories were the ones that were like the most interesting, following the through line of the corruption of the city of Baltimore as the A story. But like those are the shows that did that. Like, but again, like everything is made to just like, how long can I sit in front of a television and endure watching some of this stuff? And I feel like Superman and Lois has been appointment viewing. You have to come back the next week and watch it right away.
Yeah, this is a show that if it was on a streaming service and I knew it came out at 3 a.m., there might be a part of me that would be waking up at like 5 a.m. every day to watch it.
3:05. So, all right, let's get to the meat of this episode.
Yeah.
This episode is called Hammer Time for a reason. Clark and Lois are doing their investigative duo thing together, which I thought is something that I feel like that's something that's been to me that's been missing from the show is, Clark and Lois investigative reporters. Watching them track the X-Kryptonite and things like that was really fun. When Clark takes the van and dumps it like in the middle of the desert, was great. But then they roll up on Captain Luthor, and he's there to steal the X-Kryptonite. And when all of this has been happening, and Clark learns that his last name is Luthor. Later on, in a throwaway line, we learn his name. When they test his fingerprints, his name is John Henry Irons, who died on this particular Earth 6 years prior. If that name sounds familiar to you, congratulations. You are not a normie. John Henry Irons is Steel. And the change made to Steel and the John Henry Irons character, in every iteration, John Henry Irons has been a Superman fanboy. And I'm sure we're going to see that. But this John Henry Irons wants to murder the fuck out of Superman.
Yeah. And they do a great job in this episode, again, talking about that piecemeal, giving us little snippets and morsels of what happened in his world and why he has such a rage against Superman.
Well, and why we thought his name was Captain Luthor.
Yeah. And again, it's kind of going back to when we're watching trailers and stuff like that. Sometimes you have to let the storytellers, just give them the benefit of the doubt. And again, with Superman and Lois, like these storytellers right now have the benefit of the doubt. I'm going to always give until they lose my trust.
Until they break my trust. Yeah, they have.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm pretty good at sniffing out reveals like this. I didn't see this coming.
No.
And if you did, if you say you did, you're a liar.
Now, what's funny about this though is the fact that we were talking about the whole Ta-Nehisi Coates, Jar Jar Abrams Superman, and one of the things I did say was like, we're talking about Val Zod or Calvin Ellis. I was like, hell, you steal.
Yeah, you steal.
And 2 weeks later, what happens? It's just kind of that's just happenstance. But
yeah, they're listening to you.
I love that reveal.
It was a great reveal. Getting to see his life on his
whatever Earth he is
with Lois as his wife and Nat, their daughter, was great. It was like it humanized him so much, right? Like he's instead of him being a Luthor and like, oh my God, this guy's a villain, he's a sympathetic character now. The fact that they had to watch Lois die on television at the laser eye beams of Superman, of the heat vision just wiping her out. Now, there were multiple super powered beings. Was X-Kryptonite a thing on that Earth as well?
And that's the whole thing. What I liked about these glimpses into his world, it actually raises more questions than answers.
Well,
than it gives us answers.
Saw
and
them
I love
all like fly over Metropolis and then just like in concert destroy a building each. it was really, really great. And then working he and Natasha, his daughter, working together to, build the suit and the whole thing with the hair tie, and like it was just super sweet. It was super heartbreaking, and here you have this man who, up until this point, we've only thought of him as a villain and a zealot. And now we have the context. We have more. Let me rephrase that. We have more context around who he is. And here's the thing: is like losing your wife. That's a bad thing. He obviously lost Natasha. Maybe not to being killed by Superman. Maybe with the Anti-Monitor and the Crisis event. But this is a man who has lost everything he loved. And now this version of Clark has to pay. And the whole thing with the synthetic red sun was great. The reveal about why the AI keeps calling him Captain Luthor was great. And then, to kind of bring the boys back into it, the way they worked together to help save Clark was awesome.
Yeah.
And the kinetic hammer was so cool.
Yes, I was just about to say that. That was so. I read a series called the Dresden Files, and this guy's a wizard, and what he actually has he has a bunch of rings on his finger, and every time he moves his arm, they pull in that kinetic energy, and he can unleash that with kind of like a burst of his own will. And it's enough to, even for a couple days of energy, it can overturn a car or something like that. But I loved how, and again, we can call him that now, how John Henry Irons.
I'm just going to call him Steel. Because that's what the suit essentially was.
Yeah. How he explained to Clark, how it works. I love that.
Yeah.
And
from 10 feet, it does this. From 20 feet,
and
it's a little worse. From 60 feet, you in trouble.
Yeah, and probably the best shot scene from a photography or a cinematic standpoint is after the boys hit him with the truck.
Yeah,
and Jordan again with the wind, he knocks out the red lights.
Yeah, John
with the hammer.
John did it.
John, I'm sorry. So. And then when Clark is walking up to Steel, and Steel is he's kind of out of it. How it goes between the colors of the black suit that he's
because he's looking up and seeing he's obviously concussed, and seeing that.
Yeah, and how about Clark? Was about to deliver a blow to him.
Yeah. Well,
which again,
yeah.
It kind of goes back to what you were talking about, how Jonathan has a limit. We always think of Clark as a goody two shoes, but Clark, Superman, he has his limits too, as we saw when the soldier shot him.
Yep.
He had to hold back his rage and his anger.
Well, because remember, he lives in a world made of cardboard. He has to be careful not to hurt something or someone. He has awesome very few options to show how powerful he really is.
But Steel can't take it.
No, Steel,
at least not in the suit.
No, without the suit, no, Steel can't take it. But I don't know. I just thought this was great. We learned a lot in this episode. I think this is another 16 episode.
I think it's 13, unfortunately. Oh, I have it right here. Actually. Oh no! Wait a minute. It says 16. So it is 16 episodes.
Yeah, I mean that's what I thought. I wonder if they're gonna do a break where 15.
15, yeah.
15, yeah.
Okay.
I wonder if they're gonna do a break and do the second half of this in the fall. I really hope not.
No, please don't.
So.
I see what you're saying, because they have June 8th is they have the one for next week, and then the one for June 8th, and then it has episodes 10 through 15, and there's nothing about them.
So episode 10 is on June 15th.
Okay, so yeah, it says episode 15, August 17th.
Wait, where are you seeing that?
At the very bottom. Again, I don't know if that.
Well, hold on.
That's not like.
Yeah, so I wonder if they, like I said, I wonder if they're going to take the summer off Man, if they do a second break, they're gonna kill this show.
Yeah, don't do that. Don't. It's there's no need. And again, going back to CW and how they.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, I love this episode. This is a show that it just keeps getting better.
So
it really just keeps getting better.
5 kinetic hammers.
I give this. I have to go 4.75 with this.
I am going a solid 4.5. I don't believe in the quarters necessarily. There's still the beauty is there's still things to grow on with this show.
Yes.
So, all right, man, it was so good. If you guys aren't watching this, you definitely have to check it out. All the episodes are up on the CW app right now, and they're extended versions of the episodes. So I highly recommend watching those.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And
cool.
Well, that's the only way I'll watch them now. So,
all right. So head over to patreon.com/infamouspodcast, back the show. Or better yet, go to flyingporkapparel.com or go to infamouspodcast.com and click on shop and buy a shirt. The shirts are cool. We have a new one coming out soon. It's going to be awesome. And then we have a special announcement that we'll share in a couple weeks. But it's very exciting. Anyway, cool. Anything else you got to add?
Nope. Just be on the lookout. I might do another video on a few trailers.
Check out Darryl's midweek news bites.
Yeah,
we're gonna start
this week
doing that more.
Yeah. This week was full of trailers. Just a bunch of trailers came out. So be on the lookout for that sometime, probably early next week.
Yeah, look out for my review of Robin #2. I'm probably gonna have that up soon. I have to record it. All right. So, any last words?
Nope.
We will see you all next time. Later. The Infamous Podcast is recorded in Kings Mills, Ohio, just north of Cincinnati. You can find new episodes every Sunday on Apple Podcast, YouTube, Spotify, Google Podcast, our website, or anywhere podcasts are downloaded. This show is hosted by Darryl Jasper and me, Brian Tudor. To find more information about the show, visit us at infamouspodcast.com and follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Infamous Podcast to keep up with the show. We also have a Patreon page, patreon.com/infamouspodcast. We have some great rewards for our patrons and are looking for help to grow the show to bring you more of the content you want to hear. Music for this podcast is provided by Michael Henry from MeetMichaelHenry.com. So, whenever you're listening to us, have a great day, night, evening, weekend, whenever it is, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for listening. Later.